Namaste. This is Dr. Shafiq here. I'm the founder, the MD and CEO of TriLife Hospitals. The whole idea of this podcast is to bring the focus back to health, back to healthcare, back to healthcare professionals. And what is unique about today's podcast is women entrepreneurs in healthcare. I've got someone who's very special and someone who's known to us very well. So today I have Dr. Samina Zamindar. She's the founder of Dr. Zamindar's network of hospitals. And I don't think there's anyone else who can add so much of light into this topic. So, madam, namaste and welcome to the podcast. And I would start off saying that we've been having a great relationship between each other for a long time. You're someone whom we always look up to, and someone whom we respect a lot, and someone whom we have a great bonding. And we have always seen you about how passionate are you about your work, how much you love your organization, how much you love your work. It always inspired me, madam. So that's where I decided that you should be talking and you should share your journey. You should share your story, and I'm very sure that that's going to inspire quite a lot of women in this country. So please, madam, if you could give a little thing about you, your organization, your specialty.
Dr. Shafiq, first of all, thank you very much. It's such a rare and a unique honor to be invited to your podcast. So thank you very much on behalf of my entire team at Zamindar Microsurgical Eye Center. We've been in this area, in the Bangalore East area, practicing ophthalmology, and we have all the subspecialties of ophthalmology with us. So we've been doing this work, and this year we've also started the Zamindar Eye Foundation, which is eye care for the needy. And these are our two primary areas of work. Our major mission is to eliminate avoidable blindness. And I'm again very glad to be here today. So thank you very much.
You're welcome, madam. Madam, you said avoidable blindness. And if you could tell a little bit about what exactly is avoidable blindness.
Dr. Shafiq, 2 billion people all over the world suffer from blindness. And 60% of this blindness is avoidable. Blindness which could have been detected early and interventional steps taken, this is avoidable blindness. The most common causes of avoidable blindness are refractive errors, cataract, diabetic retinopathy, glaucoma, corneal diseases. So these are the common areas of avoidable blindness, and most of it is present, of course, in the poor strata of the society. But you will be surprised that there are enough and more people who could have afforded eye care who don't take timely eye care because of lack of awareness about it. They did not know that diabetes can cause sight loss, or they did not know that glaucoma is a silent thief of sight, right? Or they did not know that cataract has advanced treatment now, which is the safest and the simplest procedure, which can restore sight very impactfully and very safely. So these kind of myths in the society about eye diseases and eye care are still prevalent, and that's the reason why every opportunity I get to talk at any platform, I do talk about the importance of preventive eye care, right? If you're above the age of 40 years, you should ask this question to yourself: when did you get a complete and a proper eye checkup with an eye doctor? Your visit to your optician does not count.
It's very true, madam. I think that sheds a lot of light into the problems with regards to eye. I myself as a doctor, I think I get my eyes checked once in probably 4 years, 5 years, and hardly. And we, the professionals itself, when we do it, the common mass, we can't complain. I think that's a very valid information what you said, that the preventive blindness, and that means you're indirectly saying that most of the blindness which is happening in the society were actually preventable, and that's such a valuable piece of information. Now, madam, being a woman, and as I said, this podcast is going to be everything about women, and I am a pro-women leader, and back at my organization, a staggering 70% is women. And I always felt that women is more apt for healthcare because of various reasons. I feel they are more understanding. They are very sensitive. They're more empathetic. The way they handle a critical situation, I think they're very good. They're very good. But you come from an era where all these things were just not even spoken, and that was a time where going to work, a woman going to work itself was a kind of a stigma. How did you get into healthcare, madam? And how did you get into a professional course, and how did you get into healthcare? And from that era, and how did you do that? I was always keen to ask you, madam, how did you get into it?
Thank you for asking that question, because that's that part of my life is very close to my heart. My growing up years, my childhood years in Ahmedabad. I belong to a middle class dental surgeon's household, the youngest of the 4 children of a dental surgeon and a teacher as my mother. We stayed in a conservative Muslim society, and the best part about my childhood was that my father insisted that both me and my sister go to the best school in Ahmedabad, that was Mount Carmel. And to reach the school, we had to take 2 municipal corporation buses and start in about 1.5 to 2 hours earlier than the school time, and run to reach on time every single day. But that hard work paid off, because the confidence to be able to talk today stems from my education in an English medium school in Ahmedabad. So this is something rare, because we are talking about 1980 or even earlier there, the 1970s, when my education started in the school. And in a city like Ahmedabad, that was a rare thing. So getting that proper grounding of a convent education made me strong enough to think that I could achieve my dreams. That gave me the edge. And believe you me, Dr. Shafiq, those days, a girl when used to reach 15 or 16, and for that matter myself when I was in the class 10, I was getting urged to get married, because there were marriage proposals coming my way. And the only way I could sort of deter those things is that I said, look, I really want to do something more. I want to learn. And the convent education, and to some extent my household environment, gave me the confidence to say I would want to pursue something more than just get married. And healthcare, of course, was a very obvious choice for me. I had seen my father, who was a dental surgeon, coming home in the evening after a hard day's work, and then we would have dinner together, and around 10 in the night somebody would knock at our doors and say, you know what, Dr. Saab, I have got severe tooth pain and please do something about it. And my dad would still welcome that person, take care of him. He had a small little kind of kit available at home also, and make him comfortable and send him home. And we as kids would say, but Papa, when he had tooth pain, he could have come earlier in the day, right? Why did he choose to come so late? And my dad would patiently answer that, but beta, if I had not given him this treatment, he would not have been able to sleep at all. And that would be very sad, isn't it? And that got me thinking that those were the earlier days of my life when this virtue of empathy, to be able to put yourself in the other person's shoes, that came into my conscious, and I felt, yes, that's something which gave him so much joy. I could see the joy which brought what my father got by doing that simple act of making that person comfortable, and I felt that was priceless, and that sort of gently nudged me towards taking healthcare as my profession.
Nice. And how did you get into ophthalmology, madam? And that's not a specialty which everybody just jumps into. And having a dental surgeon as your father, and how did you get into ophthalmology?
I sort of, my father was keen that even despite the fact that he was a dental surgeon, if given a chance, I should do MBBS. So I got a merit seat in BJ Medical College, Ahmedabad, and I did my MBBS there. While I was growing up, there was a caretaker, a lady who used to work with us. Her name was Razia, and Razia would want always to go home very early. She will never be with us in the evening, and she would rush home would want to reach her home in the evening. Once I happened to go visit her at her home, and I saw that she was completely blind in the night. Later on, when I was doing my MBBS, I realized that she was suffering from a condition known as retinitis pigmentosa, night blindness. And that got me thinking, and of course later Razia lost her complete sight. She became blind towards the end of her life, and that made me feel very sad, and I could understand the plight of the blind. I could understand how a blind person suffers and how the entire family of a blind person suffers. It's not just the person, and how difficult it becomes to survive. So I realized that if something can be done for them, or at least something can be done to prevent avoidable blindness, I should be doing that. And of course, ophthalmology was also one branch where I was told that there's a good work-life balance and you won't have so many emergencies. So yeah, that was another reason why I chose ophthalmology. Yeah.
Very touching to hear that story, madam. And I wish, what you said, the younger generation too hears it out. Because I always believe that one of the greatest blessings you can ever have is getting to do what you love to do. And I can see that passion in you, and that little girl who saw Razia suffering, and you've not stopped helping all the other Razias in this world. So I would really drive this message to the younger generation that, pick up something which you will always love to do. And I think the way I see it, madam, the reason why you are successful, I would attribute it to the fact that you started and you're still doing what you love to do. Madam, one more thing I was keen to ask you was, yes, you did your ophthalmology, and you got into your professional thing, but being a doctor is totally different. Being a good doctor is totally different, and starting an organization is completely way out. And coming from a period where women are not even allowed to study much, or forget about professional, they're not allowed to study much, because as you rightly said, once they get into their puberty, and once they grow up and comes to a particular age, it's only about marriage they talk about. Now, you have crossed that barrier, and you did your MBBS, and you then went on to do your MS in ophthalmology. But you didn't stop there. You continued doing it, and you built one of those most renowned eye care centers in Bangalore. And being a single woman, and I know you, I don't see much people around you. But how was this entrepreneurship come to you, madam? How did you decide to start an organization of your own?
That is something kind of happened on a default mode, mainly, Dr. Shafiq. What happened is that my marriage brought me to Bangalore in the year 1995, and the only job which I got was in the southern part of Bangalore, at Prabha Eye Clinic, under the able guidance of Dr. K.R. Murthy, my mentor and my teacher, who unfortunately passed away very early. But I started working with him, and the commute was 35 kilometers. I worked with him for 6 months, and I realized that I cannot do this for a very long time. So I thought, what should I do now? I can't continue doing this. Fulfilling my duties as the new daughter-in-law in the family, and then commuting 35 kilometers one way to go to a Prabha Eye Clinic every day. So I was trying to meet the few nursing homes which were there in the Bangalore East area at that time, and I found they did not have an ophthalmologist. So I felt, why I should just start working and visiting them. But then there was not enough work at every center. So this very brilliant idea struck me, that I can go to various places. And if you remember, I don't know, maybe you're much younger than me, but there used to be a pager at that time. So I invested in a pager. I had a kinetic Honda gifted by my dear husband. And I invested in a refraction set, an ophthalmoscope, a vision chart, and I started a mobile eye clinic. So I started visiting the few nursing homes around me, on call eye doctor. And I would set up my little eye clinic wherever I went, and I would see the patient, and then operate at a center a little far away if surgeries were needed. And I did this for almost 9 months. After that, a very kind dermatologist gentleman, Dr. Ansari, gave me his clinic, for me to run my OPD there while he was not there. And then I worked there for about 9 months' time. In those 18 months, my husband felt that I had the caliber to even start my own practice, and he invested a little bit in my first ever practice, and that's how the first Zamindar Microsurgical Eye Center was started in the year 1997. There was just me and one more staff. We would do everything, Lakshmi, who was my very first staff, who is still with us 31 years down the line, would do everything what was required in the hospital and in the small little clinic, I should say. And once it started, here I would like to mention that when I started, I was not overwhelmed with the fact that how my journey will be, what I want to achieve. I just wanted to practice ophthalmology. I got a space to practice, and I started.
Nice. Coming to another interesting thing, madam, you said from your conversation, I could understand that the attrition is very less at your organization, and it's all about business is all about empowerment of the society. And when I say empowerment of the society, it's empowerment of the people. So what's your thoughts on this, madam, since we have sort of understood each other, and your organization you started about 16-17 years before I started, and so you're all our gurus, and who's into the industry. So and I'm so happy to see that, madam, you're still following that thing. I visited your clinics couple of times, and I see that bonding, and a good leader is someone who doesn't have to literally call their colleagues and say, oh, please do this. Just a look, and they will understand what she needs. How much do you still think that people are the major drive force behind businesses?
Let me first tell you that I admire the way you run the show at TriLife, and you have a huge staff strength, right? And your team is something which we all aspire to reach there. So we learn from you. There's no doubt about it. And in the beginning, before we started this interview, you said that this was all about a woman entrepreneur. So even if I remove the woman out of it and we talk about entrepreneurship, sometimes I realize that people think that, oh, you want to become an entrepreneur because you want to be the boss. You know, you want to get things done, and you are going to be the boss. So I want to break that myth first. An entrepreneur is not the boss. Everybody around him is the boss.
True, madam. Lovely. I'm so glad you said it.
Absolutely. So please remember that the joy of being an entrepreneur is to be able to do things what you do, but not as the boss. By being a part of the team, right? In fact, you are hardly the boss. And the joy is that you're able to give so many job opportunities. You're able to give good employment, decent employment, create a wonderful ecosystem in your centers where people would love to come and work. There is respect, there is dignity, there is love, there is a feeling of a united purpose of doing something good. Every day, a person who comes to work should go back home feeling that they were able to do their job nicely. They were acknowledged for the work what they did, and they were able to even help somebody who couldn't afford, or bring a smile to somebody's face. I think these are the glue factors which keep the team going. So that's something which being said, and that's the reason why the attrition is less. And now if I add the woman to the entrepreneur, this is about the entrepreneur, and now we talk about woman entrepreneur. What is the extra flavor which a woman entrepreneur brings? Not that I'm taking away from the male entrepreneur or something like that. I would not dare to say that in front of you. It's just that a woman brings in a little more vulnerability. And there are certain characteristics which are inbuilt in a woman. The characteristics of empathy, the characteristics of being meticulous, when I talk about in the quality parlance, we talk about the 5S and how systems and your everything should be sorted out. So woman is very good in keeping the kitchen clean, putting it meticulously. That's all needed in healthcare also. You need discipline, you need meticulousness, you need systems, you need standard operating procedures, and all this is a woman's forte. So being authentic, being vulnerable, and being able to be meticulous brings in the extra woman's flair in a woman entrepreneurship. And the last part of your question about how healthcare is getting sort of hijacked by the corporate culture. With all due respect to all the corporates around, I feel that for everybody, whether it's an independent organization like yours and mine or a chain of corporate hospitals, one thing which any healthcare professional should remember, that a hospital or a healthcare organization and the community it serves are the two sides of the same coin. And the only bridge between these two sides is the trust from the people and the accountability of the hospital. So if this is in place, then we have a healthier community around your hospital. If you are running a hospital and if the community around you is not healthy, you're lacking.
Lovely, lovely. Well said, madam. Madam, I always fancied certain things. If you look at the way the world has evolved, civilizations and things, it should be. It was like that earlier days. Everything was built around a religious space. Let's say you have a church, you have a temple, and the whole community is around that. I, as an entrepreneur, used to think that church, why can't it be a hospital? Why can't communities be built around around a hospital, where a hospital becomes the center of the community? Don't you think, madam, that will be something unimaginable? I will tell you a few examples which sort of inspired these thoughts further. Let's say that we at TriLife, we are open to all our furry friends. We got a bunch of dogs, cats, and things. It's their home too. They're open. Food is always available. We also give them the medical care. It has so happened that in the last couple of years, whenever there's a abandoned, abused, orphan, furry friend of mine out there, they drop it in the entrance of TriLife. And we have been receiving it on a regular basis. And they know that we will do something about it. And it also so happened about a couple of weeks, we received a child. And this was one of from a migrant population who had come here for some work in Bangalore. The child was hardly about 5-6 years. And they dropped it here in front of our emergency at night, at somewhere in the late evening, I would rather say. And we could, immediately, connect with the right people. And by morning, we found the parents. So they still have that trust in hospitals, not for that medical care. And we as entrepreneurs, if we can take this to the next level, raise the bar, it's not just about treatment, the therapeutic or the curative part. It is also about prevention, because earlier days they used to ask me, doc, I have got this, what do I do? Now they say, how do I avoid coming to hospital? And that's where the whole world is heading towards. Now, one step ahead, where they come to us not just for the treatment or for preventing an illness, but for the other social causes also. How lovely that would be, madam. If we reinstill in us our social responsibility, and I sometimes say business is something like a balance between profit and social conscience. And that's what is business about. How do you balance this? Yes, profits definitely is required because you need the money to run the place. But what about your social conscience? And if we are able to balance it, I think we can not just build organizations, but we're literally the community. And we're not part of the community. We are the community. I as a responsible leader of this industry, I would, dream about a day where we become the community and where we take care of all the sections of the society. Don't you think so, madam, that we should be aspiring to, because with that love, I would not open up this with somebody, but with you, someone who's lived it and throughout your life. And I think you're the perfect person to understand what I'm trying to say. Don't you agree with me, madam?
I think I could see the sparkle of joy in your eyes. And when you were talking about all these things, I really feel that that's what is needed today, right? That the joy of giving, the sort of the feeling that you can make a difference in somebody's life. And it got me thinking, I was remembering my childhood days when we used to all go to a general practitioner around us, and that doctor would be everywhere in all our family functions, and and he would be there, and he would know everything about us. So and we will have to believe that healthcare can come back to that. We'll have to bring it back from the boardrooms into the real lives of patients and people and communities. So I was very excited to know about what you are doing with your furry friends and how you really help, and people have the community around you. So that's where I said that the community around you has started trusting you, that whatever happens, we can go there and we will get treatment. We will not be sent away for lack of money.
True, madam.
I think this should be the bottom line.
You nailed it. It's not the money. Money does not have value. It is what value the money which you can create. That's important. So I think it's time that we see above that finance. I still don't understand finance, madam, and I still don't understand that part. But as you rightly said, the joy of giving. I don't think anybody became poor because they gave off. And by giving, no one becomes poor, madam. They only get more and more rich. So, madam, it's something a question which is going to make probably the women of this country to think, and that's going to come from the horse's mouth. And if you ask me what is that, madam, we are talking, I agreed, as a male CEO, I totally agree that women can run healthcare much better than men. I'm not ashamed to say it, I'm so proud, because we are a very women pro organization, and everything what I am today is because of my mother. And so I owe everything to the women around me. So I'm not ashamed as a CEO to say that the reason behind my success is the women around me. Now, having said all this, with all the credentials, why is that we are not seeing more women leaders? What do you think, madam, is the reason?
One thing which we have to understand, that in a society like ours, women is still expected to be the primary caretaker of the children and of the homes. And that is a good enough reason for a woman to not take leadership role, but it's not forbidding reason. A woman, if puts her mind to it, can take a leadership role. And we have seen that in any organization, especially in a healthcare organization, if you see that if the woman is leading, there is a special flavor to that organization. True. So we will have to come out of the shackles of the age-old societal belief that a woman is good enough only if the woman is a good mother, a good wife, a good homemaker. A woman can delegate a lot of things. So if they can break those shackles, believe in themselves. See, Dr. Shafiq, the important thing, the number one important thing is to believe in yourself. And the second most important thing is to have believers around you.
True, madam. I think I have always believed that no one can motivate anyone. Motivation is self. If you don't motivate yourself, no one can motivate you. In this pretext, having the belief in them that they are capable of doing something, I think that's what is primarily required. Everyone is born with a gift. God has sent us to this world to do His works, and He's gifted everybody with something. But unless and until we don't use it for others, it does not become a gift. So every woman, I think there's a gift in them. But if they are able to realize that I am also capable of, maybe she's not able to do something which the other woman is able to do, but she's better off at something. And I also have to tell you, madam, no country can be successful as long as the woman is not successful. And so is no organization can be successful as long as the woman is not successful. No family can be successful as long as the women of the family is not successful. I think we need to urge, and with your kind of or my kind of arrangement where it's majority women, I think we should voice this more, madam. We should talk more. We should not talk about business. We should talk about these social responsibilities. And if they come out, it's not just that we're impacting lives alone, but the kind of impact they can create to the others. That's what we should be looking at. Now, there's one more thing in madam which has been going on. It's more of a technical thing. There's been a lot of this budge on the discussions on AI, and many ask us, doc, do you think that AI will take over your jobs and things? Now, my version is that I would say the journey of a patient comprises of 3 stages. The first stage is diagnostic, the second stage is curative, and the third stage is the follow-up. This is what I as a surgeon has seen it. Yes, AI is a good tool. Technology is always a friend, but it's all about how we learn to use that technology and utilize it in the right way. So what I feel is the first part, the diagnostics, that's going to get faster, better because of all this technology. Curative, that is the treatment part, to an extent, yes, they can influence like robotics and stuff. but the rest, and particularly the rest part of the curative thing and the entire part of the follow-up thing, follow-up is as simple as they come back and tell that how do they feel. I think that's completely the humane thing, and that's where the human. This is my perception. What is yours, madam? What do you think about AI, and how much of technology have you implemented in you? Because yours is quite an advanced unit. Even if it's a boutique, it's quite an advanced unit. So I would want to know that what's your take on AI, because definitely they will want to know. And the second thing is, how much of technology have you invested in your organization, madam?
I welcome AI with open hands, okay? And I feel the problem is not with AI taking away jobs. The problem is with people who are hesitant to learn newer things. The problem is the hesitation to talk about it and to leverage it to your best advantage. So artificial intelligence is needed, especially in a country like ours where the population is so huge. For example, we use artificial intelligence in screening for diabetic retinopathy. We have handheld mobile cameras which we use for all our screening initiatives, where anybody, any of our technician, any of our junior technician can go there, and the AI shows them that whether this patient has significant enough diabetic retinopathy or glaucoma that that person needs to meet a doctor. So we can't have so many senior healthcare or eye care professionals doing screening. So it's a great screening tool for us. Like I gave you an example, for our handheld fundus cameras, AI is used to be able to quickly decide whether this patient needs an intervention or needs to meet an eye doctor or not. Secondly, we have some advanced machines like for myopia care, where myopia is short-sightedness. It keeps progressing, right? So in our Zamindar Children's Eye Hospital, we've invested in a machine known as OBM biometer, which quickly gives us, at the end of all the 4-5 readings, measurements, it takes a graph which shows the parents of the children that if holistic care is not taken to stop the progression of myopia, your myopia is predicted to go up to this level in so many years. So a prediction graph comes out in a second. I don't have to talk so much. I don't have to convince the parent to really take cognizance of the fact that they will have to do something about the child's progressing myopia, because there is a prediction chart. So things are starting to move from screening to prediction, and that's how eye care is getting better. So in a lot of our equipments, like in our biometer, we do optical biometry for our intraocular lens measurement, which is 100% precise. And how is it precise? Because we use AI-based formulas for that, to decide what is the best intraocular lens after we remove your cataract, because most people now want independence from glasses after cataract surgery. So that's where AI comes. But after saying this, and with due respect to all initiatives for bringing in artificial intelligence to healthcare, but healthcare and doctors and healthcare professionals can never be replaced by AI, right? There are so many things which only we will be able to do now and even 100 years down the line. It's the smile which comes back to the patient's face comes because you give a healing touch, right? You are talking to the patient. It's the belief, the trust. I wish that the patient could sit in front of a computer or machine and get that trust. That's never going to happen.
True. No, I think, madam, with regards to the success of any organization, or I would say there is no place for success for any organization as long as they don't embrace technology. So technology is friend, but it's all about how you said, how you're going to use it in the right way, how much and how much are you going to use it. And I also would emphasize or make a statement that no matter how much of technology comes in, you cannot take the humane thing out of healthcare, because what makes it special is the human touch. And I don't think that is replaceable at all. So, and yes, I urge everybody to take up learning very seriously. You got to be a lifelong student, as you say. But yes, the things are changing, and it's an era of industrialization. Changes are happening, and we need to change, and for the betterment of us, our teams, our organization, and for the betterment of the society. And so I'm glad you re-emphasize saying that the human touch cannot be replaced. And Madam, when we talk about this, the human touch and other things, this is something which always sort of not worries me as such, but sometimes it goes like a flash. Is it kind of a thing? I'm talking about empathy, and with all these things happening around us, where hospitals are also started being seen as revenue models. What do you think, or how much do you think empathy is still left out in the healthcare, madam? It's an open question, but your take on it.
Empathy meaning being able to feel and put yourself into the position of the other person who is going through that is something which is synonymous with healthcare. You cannot a healthcare where the heart is in its right place of that organization. Empathy has to be an integral part of it. These are intangibles which are felt by the patient as soon as they walk into the organization. There is a lovely book which is written by Malcolm Gladwell. It's known as The Blink. And he says that in the first 30 seconds of the interaction of a doctor and a patient, the patient thin slices you and gets a feeling about whether this doctor or this healthcare professional or this organization is trustworthy or not. So even if you are talking about your kind of profit and loss sheets in a boardroom of a healthcare profession or an organization, empathy has to be discussed, because you will not be able to gain the trust of your patient without that factor. Every time when a patient is sitting in front of us, if we are able to think that what would be the advice I would give to myself or to my family members if we were in the similar situation, and if that advice is given, keeping that in mind, the patient is going to listen to you with the belief that yes, whatever best possible this doctor will do for me. And there is no reason why healthcare can go to that level where we don't talk about empathy. Dr. Shafiq, empathy has to be a part of any healthcare. Even if you consider healthcare as a business, and yeah, it is a business, of course, but it cannot be thought also about without empathy. We need to really think that if at all it is missing in an organization, there has to be something done at the grassroots level of the organization to bring it back. A cultural change is needed, and the management or the leaders of the organization will have to sit together and say, hey, where did we go wrong? Why did this happen? A lot of introspection will be needed. A lot of introspection will be needed from the leaders and the management. If there is a feeling that the patients don't trust you anymore, if there is a lack of empathy in the organization, I think at the cultural level, a lot of rethinking needs to be done.
True, madam. No, yeah, I totally agree. You cannot teach empathy just like that. That has to be something which arises from the culture of the organization. If you don't have the right culture, it's very difficult to bring in the empathy. And it's time that where the entire industry is talking about quality and other things, I think it's time they talk about empathetic leadership, devotional leadership. I think this is what is, what we need to voice out, madam. Having seriously understood the pros and cons of this, I think every single place we get an opportunity, I think we should talk about it, and we also should ensure that the rest of the leaders of our organizations, they talk about culture, they talk about being empathetic, and because we can't think about healthcare without empathy in that. And many think that empathy is a job of a doctor and or a nurse, but it is across the ecosystem, and right from the doorman to chairman has to be empathetic. It's not just that a set of people are expected to be empathetic and the rest of them can be officers. And I've seen it, and unfortunately in some places, they behave like officers. We don't need officers in healthcare, madam. We need human beings in healthcare. So lovely, madam. And there's one more thing I wanted to ask. It's a broader one, but you're quite a senior leader of the industry and respectable figure. So just your input about what will be the future of healthcare in our country, and where do you think women will, or what do you think will be a women's role in that?
If I have to be very ambitious about this answer, I would feel that healthcare will be mostly moving towards holistic healthcare, preventive healthcare, public healthcare. And women's role is very important because even if a woman is not part of the healthcare system, women at any organization can take leadership in ensuring that the employees of that organization, the teams of that organization stay healthy, right? The environment, the pollution levels, the food what we eat, right? The water we drink, the kind of lifestyle habits what we have. All those come under preventive healthcare, and women has a role both outside and inside an healthcare organization. If you look at women in healthcare organization, we need more and more women to join healthcare. I feel that if I look say 20 years down the line, I will see double the number of women working in healthcare as compared to what they are working now, because I also hope that healthcare organizations are more flexible, more agile to accommodate women at all stages of their life. Woman goes through maternity, woman goes through raising children when they are very young, and we need to have women, we need to be open to give kind of flexi hours to women, because if you want women to bring in that specific unique flavor which they brings to the organization, healthcare organization will have to learn to be agile around their needs. I think that is something which we were successfully able to do.
As a responsible leader, I pray that more women prefers to come to healthcare, and they understand the giving back nature of this industry. And it's not just they just come to the industry, but I want more women in the top positions, because the policy decision makers, if it is women, then you don't have to talk about being flexi with from timings to everything for a woman. If they are on the top and they are the policy decision makers, it just becomes part of the system. I think, madam, I had a fantastic conversation. Whether they're recording or not, I will tell you. I love this conversation, and it was brilliant and it was great, and I wish you all the very best, madam, and in all your endeavors, and most importantly, the passion what you have built in you and around you, and your thoughts which comes out with so much of clarity, and that is very much in sync with what is required in the industry, and people should be given the priority, and we should bring that four-lettered word in business called love, and that's what we should aim for, madam. We should be the first of the organizations to anonymously say that we have one mantra, and that is love your people, and they will love you back, not just you, and they will ensure that love is being shared all across the ecosystem.
So, Dr. Shafiq, I feel this is such an opportune moment that you have called me for this podcast, because the Women's Day is around the corner, right? And if I wanted to share something with the woman who might be listening to this podcast, that never allow anybody to tell you that you will not be able to do this. Never, never allow anybody to do that. And secondly, at any point of time when there is an opportunity to speak up and you are afraid, just for a second think, what would you do or speak if you were not afraid? And just do that. So, sending you a lot of love to all the women who are listening to us, and be brave. Always keep smiling, and this is your world. You need to shine and thrive and do very well and bring a lot of love to everybody around you. And thank you, Dr. Shafiq. I truly from my heart, on behalf of my family, on behalf of my organization and all my team members, I would say that we are extremely grateful that you thought that we are good enough to be featured on your podcast. So thank you very much.